Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, Trailblazers. Hope you had a wonderful Dreamforce. Did you all go to the Alicia Keys party last night? Yeah? You had fun? Thanks for stopping by. We are going to talk about the SnapIns and SOS for the developers. I'm Karthik Vishwanatha, the VP of Innovation. So let's get started. That's actually a drum roll. You cannot hear it, but I wanted to show a forward-looking statement before talking about anything. The reason is we might talk about some new things that are not on the platform yet, maybe in the future releases. So please make your buying decisions based on what we have currently. So with that, a little bit about myself. Again, I'm Karthik. I work with NeuroFlash. I'm a Salesforce MVP. You can follow me on my Twitter handle, log on to Karthik. With that, I have my friend here, Jim. Jim,
Yeah, great. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Great concert last night, so looks like everybody is awake here. My name is Jim Hunt. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at NeuroFlash. And just to get started, just 1 minute about us so you know who we are and where we come from and why we're talking about SOS and SnapIns and some other digital channels. NeuroFlash is a Salesforce consulting partner, and we have a deep focus on Service Cloud, digital channels, and chatbots. So we've been in the contact center space for a really long time. We've built chatbot platforms before throughout all these digital channels that we're going to talk about today. So a little bit about us. So if you're interested in talking to us about something, let us know. Yeah, let's keep going. Okay, a little bit about the agenda today. We've got 38 minutes. We definitely want to leave a little bit room for Q&A at the end. But we're going to talk a little bit about customer experience, the age of the customer, and why SnapIns are important. So we're just going to kind of weave you into why we're talking about SnapIns, why they can help, what they're for, and whatnot. We'll talk about digital channels. Karthik is then going to spend a good amount of time talking about how you can configure SnapIns easily and quickly for SOS and for Live Agent. And then we'll do a little recap and a Q&A. Okay? Sound good? Great, let's go. Keep going. Great. So as we all know, because we're all consumers ourselves, that our expectations of how we interact with companies and brands that we do business with is changing at light speed, right? So we're all ridiculously connected. We have high expectations of customer service. And no longer are we just looking at some of the different brands we're working with, let's say a bank, and comparing one bank's customer service and products just against another bank. We're comparing everyone against everyone because there are brands out there that are doing fantastic jobs of delivering great service across mobile for anytime, anywhere, accessibility to their brand, and some are just honestly not cutting it. So our expectations as consumers are really driving or should be driving brands to take it to the next level. Let's keep going. So there's this transformation that needs to take place for a lot of companies. And there is this huge gap between what we expect out of a customer service experience and what we're actually being provided generally. Again, there are some brands out there that do a fantastic job. But if you think about it, I mean, when's the last time you called one of the brands you're doing business with and reached the old school touch tone IVR, where you get lost and frustrated and you can't get to anybody to get your problem solved? It's time consuming. It wastes our time. It's frustrating. And I mean, frankly, brands need to realize that customer service and the customer experience they provide is actually probably the #1 reason why we're doing business with these brands in the first place. So again, have to take it to the next level. So what can brands do about this? And we'll get into a little bit about why we're here to talk about SnapIns and how they play a part. But essentially, when you design and think about customer experiences for support and for service, you really need to think about a handful of different components, right? So you need to make experiences extremely intuitive for people, easy to use, right? So first point of contact, get a problem solved, make it quick, make it fast, get in and out. The second is they should be predictive to some level, right? So if I'm calling my airline and I had called them 2 days ago about a reservation, I mean, it's likely that I'm probably calling about that reservation for something. It's not that difficult to put some level of prediction and context capability into this customer experience to greet me in a personal way and say, Mr. Hunt, are you calling about the reservation that you made yesterday? It makes such a great impression when you provide that type of personalization and context awareness, especially across channels. So if I make that booking on the web and then I'm calling in 24 hours later, I'm probably calling about that reservation. So a little bit of intelligence, a little bit of prediction, personalization goes a really long way. A big part of that is making these interactions natural. So there are some interfaces out there that are not natural, interactive for us as humans, and there are some that are. So if you think about natural language processing and natural language speech and natural language text, I mean, that's how we're wired, right? We speak and we type and we're using this type of language. When you get into that touch tone IVR I mentioned before, that's not intuitive, that's not easy. But conversational service and a lot of the digital channels that the Salesforce platform does a great job of providing, for example, live agent chat for web chat, live message for two-way SMS messaging or Facebook Messenger, and SOS video chat. These are conversational service channels where we can be who we are and we can ask the questions we want to ask and we can, get our point across, without having to be bucketed into some general category of what I might need. So just move into the next slide. This is why SnapIns become very important, is to provide these types of digital channel services and to open up these communication channels with customers. It has to be easy for the implementer too. It can't just be, difficult to set up a chat, difficult to set up video. When you know your customers want it, it's a part of the best customer service that you can provide. And what SnapIns will do, and the Kartik will show you in a minute here, is help you deploy these channels quickly and easily and get them out to your customers to provide that great customer experience you all want to do. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend Kartik.
Thank you. That was a 10-minute quick overview of why we need SnapIns, right? I mean, thank you, Jim, for taking time and putting a business perspective to it. So I know we are all admins and developers by heart. We might have some users as well. How many are business users here? So there are a few business users. Admins? Rest all developers? So we all, so we have like a mixed group here. But even for like the developers or admins, setting a business perspective to a solution or a problem is highly important because that's when you understand why you are implementing something. So that's, with that, let's jump into the actual SnapIns, right? So SnapIns come in two different flavors. SnapIns for the mobile devices using the SnapIn SDK, and the SnapIns for the web, for the browser-based web applications. So Salesforce provides two types of SnapIn capabilities. And SnapIns will have, again, a lot of feature sets, like you can use SnapIns for your live agent chat. You can use SnapIns to do case management, creating cases. You can do SnapIns for SOS, two-way video conferencing. You can use SnapIns for knowledge search. So all these different digital channels, as we call them, because you're not picking up a phone. This is not a phone. Phone channel is different, and these are all digital channels. So all these digital channels are wrapped up in what we call it as a SnapIn. And the reason why, this is what I think. Maybe if anyone knows the reason why it's called SnapIn, let me know. Because it is so simple from the Salesforce standpoint, making it easier for you to just take that functionality and put it on a device without thinking about what device it is, in a SnapIn, in a Snap. That's why it is called a SnapIn. So, that's my definition. So any objections? Okay. So the next question that everyone might have, mostly business users, or even like the admins, or like managing how many manage Salesforce as an admin? So you might be getting like various requests from your business users, right? So I want this functionality. Do I need to get a developer, right? Yeah. So that's like a big million-dollar question for everyone. Do I need a developer for doing the SnapIns? Well, it's a big question for me as well, because should we have a developer? It's a combination of both development as well as admin work. And I don't consider admins as non-developers. In my mind, admins are also developers. They are declarative developers, because you're doing something, you're building something. So combination of admin configuration and the combination of some development, you have the capability to set up the SnapIns in a much faster fashion. So let's jump on into the demo. So today I'm going to show you, again, as I said, there are two flavors of SnapIns. So I'm going to show you the SnapIns for web, how to configure the SnapIns for web for the chat. And on the mobile side, I'm going to show you how to configure it for SOS. And now you might know why I have, in the beginning, in the slides, why I have like a brackets in SOS, because it's part of the SnapIn family. So let's jump to a demo. So how many use Lightning? Let's see. How many of you use Lightning Experience? It's less than 50%. Come on. Salesforce is asking you want to move to Lightning, not move away from Lightning. So yeah, if you're not using Lightning, there's definitely some bad news for you. SnapIns is available only in the Lightning. What you can do is you can turn on the Lightning, enable Lightning. You don't have to turn it on for all the users. Set up the SnapIns in the Lightning experience, and then ask all your users to work in Classic. And again, like as I said, the SnapIns family has like a lot of capabilities. One of the capabilities SnapIns for web is for live agent. So you need to have a live agent deployment already present. I already have a live agent deployment. So if I'm going to show you the deployments. So I have one live agent deployment, DF17. I'm going to configure this live agent for the SnapIns. Let me switch back to Lightning Experience. I go to setup. So you search for the SnapIns, and you can see like this SnapIns, and it's all like set up. And I already set up one for DF17. Let me show you what it looks like. So there are various sections when you're setting up a SnapIn. You can see the first section is live agent basic settings. What that means is the live agent deployment that you already have, you need to choose that live agent deployment in the live agent basic settings. So this is where you do that. So live agent deployment, it shows all the available deployments for the live agent and the buttons for the live agent. You choose the ones that you want, you set it up, click on save. And this is some really awesome, cool stuff. Branding. So you don't have to write any CSS code for branding your SnapIn snippets. It's all built into Salesforce, available through configuration. So you can brand your primary colors, your secondary colors, your images, everything here. So you can set up all those things and even the fonts. The other interesting feature that SnapIns has is pre-chart page. How many use Live Agent? How many have you used? A lot of. So you know the pre-chat form in the Live Agent, right? So the out-of-the-box Live Agent pre-chat form is built through a Visualforce page. So you need to create a Visualforce page, and you need to add like code to the Visualforce page for the pre-chat. And you have to use the Live Agent API to pass in the information. That's all gone with SnapIns. All you have to do is configure the pre-chat using this section, and it will give you options, some like templated options for you based on the scenario that you're setting up the SnapIn for. So for example, if you're setting up a service scenario, it's going to automatically default the pre-chat to contact and case. And then when you click on the next, it's going to ask you what fields you want on the pre-chat form. So you don't have to write any Visualforce code. I think it's really good in my sense because you don't have to manage Visualforce pages at that point. And then as you configure all these things, you can make them required, or you can just leave them optional. And when someone fills in the information in the pre-chat form, it directly passes into the live agent, onto the console towards the agent side. And it even automatically searches for the contact and all. So that's an interesting feature on the pre-chat side. And lastly, magic, SnapIn code snippet. You click on it and you get the code snippet. All you have to do is take this code snippet and put it on your web page. That's it. And it's going to work automatically. I'm going to show you a version of a SnapIn in a community, and it's much more simpler. You don't even have to drop the code snippet. You just need to drop the Lightning component. So let me go to my community builder. How many know what a community builder is? Great. This is a Napili template, out-of-the-box Napili template. So I set up a community, and I want a SnapIn. I want a SnapIn chat on my community. So what I'm going to do is go to the components, search for SnapIns. I already have one, so. I have SnapIn chat here, so all you have to do is drag and drop this one, and it gives you options to choose which chat deployment that you want to have on the community with options to configure the button labels. So you can say chat with an expert, chat with the NeuroFlash team, no one is else. So you can customize all these things. And after you customize it, it's like you just publish the community and it is there for you. So let me see if I can show. So here is the community. No one is available though. So let me make someone available. Actually, let me see if I can do it through Lightning console. So again, this one is again in Lightning experience. So if you are using the classic console, that will work as well. So SnapIns will work with the classic console as well. But this is on the Lightning side. So this is a Lightning service console. And through the Omni channel, I made myself available. So as I made myself available, you can see the button status changing to chat with an expert. Previously, it was no one is available. Now it's chat with an expert. You click on it. It automatically populates the pre-chat form. Do you recognize the sound? That's the live agent. I'm getting a chat, incoming chat. And you can see everything populated here with the contact, the live agent, in a Lightning console. So in less than 10 minutes, so we are able to configure a SnapIn with the live agent. We put it on a community, and we are chatting. So how awesome it is. So that's the beauty of the SnapIns. You can quickly configure things through the configuration and then put it on your communities or on your web pages. So the next thing that I'm going to show you, so let me go back to my presentation. So we already saw these things, SnapIns for web, for the chat, we are able to configure the flow. We did a little bit of branding, and we deployed it. And it's immediately available. So the next thing I'm going to show you involves a little bit of code, because the SnapIns for mobile uses something called as a SnapIn SDK. So the SnapIn SDK is available in 2 flavors, SDK for Android and SDK for iOS. Other phone device people, bad luck. If you are on Windows, sorry. I don't know if it is coming soon or not, but it's for sure for Android and iOS. And for the mobile, you have to install the SDK. Once you install the SDK, you get all the libraries that are available in the SDK for you. So you prepackaged libraries, so that it makes it easier for the developer who is writing the code to connect your mobile app to the Salesforce Service Cloud. All the prepackaged libraries are present, so you don't have to try to reinvent the wheel by writing your own APIs and SDKs. And then there are multiple options to the code that are present through the SDK libraries that you can configure, things like branding, things like colors, things like enabling the knowledge. So all those things are available, and you can set it up that way. And one of the things that I'm going to show you is the SOS on Salesforce. There is a package, a managed package, that is available for the SOS. You install the package. You get a quick setup that can be done. You set it up. There are 5 different steps. You set up. It creates everything on the Salesforce for you. And you will get ready on the Salesforce side with SOS. So let me jump back to the demo. I need to go back to my classic. So this is a SOS quick setup package. It's going to check the requirements. It's going to create you the custom objects for the SOS, add the omnichannel widget for your app, customize. It's an optional. Customizing the console settings is an optional feature. So there are things that you can do using the console app itself, where you can open up a case when SOS request comes in. So you can set those up based on your use cases. You can define other things. For the SOS, you might not need a case, or maybe a service request. So you can set those up here. And then at the end, this is very important because it gives you some details about what the org ID is. Well, let me choose the deployment. What the deployment ID is and what the endpoint is. So we'll get back to this one. So just remember that these 3 are very important. So I'm a Mac guy. So I by default chose to show you an iOS demonstration. But if you need an Android demonstration as well, it's very much similar. There is really good documentation as well for the Android. You can do that as well easily. What I did was I installed the SDK libraries on my machine. And how many know iOS development? 1, 2, OK. Again, I'm not a Swift programmer, so I know some Swift, but I'm familiar with Objective-C, so I chose Objective-C. The iOS SDK, the Service Cloud SDK is going to work for both Swift as well as Objective-C. And you don't need to be a hardcore iOS developer to make this one work, because all you are doing is connecting the hooks in your iOS mobile app. So you can work with your in-house developers, mobile developers, and you can recommend them the steps they need to do, so that they can do it, and you can triage with them, so that if there are any issues, they can talk to you. But some fundamental things when you're building out the iOS mobile app is you need to import those 2 packages, Service Core and Service Knowledge. Service Core is the basic package that you implement. that you import so that you get all the functionality. Service knowledge is for the knowledge-based integration. And it has to be present in the app delegate. So after you import that one, all you have to do is like on your mobile app, if you already have a view controller present. So view controller is similar to how the Visualforce pages work, is right? You have a Visualforce page and then you have a backend Apex controller. Similar way, you have the UI interface, and then there is a view controller behind the scenes that will actually transform, like act on the logic. So you click on a button, an event gets passed, and then something happens behind the scenes. So what I did was I built a very simple mobile app wrapper. It takes a web page, it wraps it into a mobile app, and then on top of it, I added 2 buttons for the SOS. So I'm going to show you how I did that. This is the website. You can see the website, right? This is a web-based website. So what I did was, I took the web-based website, I wrapped it inside a mobile app. That's all. If you look at it, I'm going to run this for you. You can see the NeuroFlash. Let me. Oh, yeah. The screen resolution isn't. This is good. You can see the 2 buttons, contact us and help. All I did was, I took the website and then on top of that, I added these 2 buttons. And it's like super easy to do that. You have like drag and drop capabilities using iOS. What just happened? Oh, let's see. Good. Sorry about that. And this has options. So you have options. When you click on that, you see chat and SOS. I'm going to show you a demo on how this works. So you need to be available for the SOS on your console. You can see one of the present statuses is SOS online. It is very much similar to how you set up the Live Agent online configuration. You set this up, and with the quick setup that you have seen, you also get this presence configuration. So I'm online here. I go back. You get like a small warning. I need to be careful because I need to mute my machine. And there you can see. Okay, you can see me, right? So that's the SOS mobile app that's showing up. And I think I can see Jim there. So Jim, you're showing up there. And you can also see the mobile app available for your agent. So what agent can do is, agent can actually work with you or with the customer who is initiating the SOS, and then he can work with the customer and they can direct him on like what needs to be done. If it is, for example, if it is an issue where you have issues with the dishwasher and a field service technician came in, and he has a question about something that he does not know. So what he does is he calls the customer service. It's like, okay, what's the model of this dishwasher and what kind of a part that I need to put in. That's one of the examples. So he does a SOS chat, and then he shows the dishwasher and says, okay, fine, this is what's happening. So it's all like real time, where you are actually interacting and your customer is able to present what's the actual real issue with someone who is sitting on the customer service side. And if it is a mobile issue, you can also interact on the mobile device, and it shows up on your actual mobile device. You see, when I put in like some notes, I can see it on the device as well. So you can direct what needs to happen and all. So that's a small demo of SOS. Let me close this. I'm going to go back to my code. And I told you like a few minutes back that you need to remember the deployment IDs and all, right? You can see I defined those deployment IDs here. The org ID, the deployment ID, the button ID for the chat, the org ID, the deployment ID, and the endpoint URL for the SOS. So I deployed these, I defined here. So your mobile app knows to which deployment it needs to go, which omni-channel it needs to route your request to. And there are other options that are available in the code as well. You can see set feature client front camera enabled, yes. Set feature client back camera enabled, yes. So if you're on a mobile device, you can have those options present for you as well, where you can choose based on your requirements, what are all the features that you wanted to present or what you wanted to make it available for your mobile versions. And obviously, you get like a lot of options for the debugging. So if you're like a hardcore developer, you wanted to debug the issues, you wanted to present them with the right messages, you can do all those things as well as a part of the SDK. And there is documentation available that I'm going to share after the session, where you can go in and look at all those debugging options as well. So with that, let me go back to my presentation. I did not get a chance to cover the chat knowledge and cases, but I briefly showed you. So when you click on the Contact Us button, it opens up the chat and SOS. You can also have an option to integrate the knowledge as well on your mobile app. So you have a unified digital channel experience on your mobile device across all the channels. So this is a really awesome quote that I found by Mahatma Gandhi, talking about the importance of customer. I really liked it, so that's why I put it on this slide. But we, in a nutshell, what it is saying is customer is the reason why we are here. We serve our customer, and as a developer, as an admin, as a business user, at the end goal or the end state for everyone is to make sure that we serve the customer, keep the customer happy. And at the end of the day, it's all aloha, as Salesforce says. So let's do a quick recap. So we talked about customer experience, the current age of the customer, how the customer experience is being transformed from the voice channels, IVRs, to the digital channels. Conversational service, what conversational service is, self-service, and then we jumped into the importance of the SnapIn mobiles. We looked at like various options, and we identified the differences between SnapIns for web, SnapIns for mobile, and we also talked a little bit about whether a developer is required or whether an admin can do all those things, and we saw a couple of demos about the SnapIns for mobile and SnapIns for web, and we built some SnapIns together. There are some resources that I used. These are all the different resources. There is also a Trailhead module So please, you can get your badge, SnapIns Trailhead module. I wanted to see, like, I'm going to follow up with you all because you signed up. So I know, like, there's a chatter post at the bottom. So I'll reach out and, like, send a message to see if you all got the Trailhead badge or not. With that, we are going to open the floor. We have, like, a little less than 5 minutes. We're going to open the floor for questions.
Yeah, is there so you showed SOS for mobile. Could you do the client side just in a browser, or is that not available?
It's not available on the browser.
Okay. So it has to be an app.
It's in the future.
Okay.
I've got a couple, sorry. I am working on implementing this right now with chat, and the biggest thing that I've come up against is routing. We currently use our pre-chat form that we wrote in-house to route our chats. Can that be done with the pre-chat form option on the SnapIn? Did I ask a weird question?
No, we're smiling at each other because we have a friend in the audience we've been working with on a similar issue. And unfortunately, the SnapIns are pretty limited right now in how you can route. It's basically, one SnapIn tied to one button tied to one routing config. So you're basically going to route into one queue in Omni. So
Okay.
there's a couple of tricks to get around that, but it might require some custom code that would take a little while for us to talk about.
I'll chat with you after about that.
Yep.
But yeah, we did with one of our customers, same issue. So yeah.
Yes, good. So we would love to have a screen and image sharing option, but not on SOS. Is there an option for that?
Screen and image sharing.
Yeah, because the big problem for us with SOS is apparently I'm told Benioff made the decision to not have it work unless you start an SOS from that channel. So you can't do anything else coming backwards, so we can't really use that. But we really do want that screen and image sharing. Is there another option for that?
There is no option. I mean, the only screen sharing option that you see is the app that you are opening the SOS with. So that's the screen that is shared with the agent. I think the reason why they have like limitations is there are so many things that the device capabilities, like supporting all the devices and all. So SOS roadmap has some of those features, but I don't know when they're going to get.
Are you looking for co-browse to some?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some good app exchange
different
partners
things.
out there doing that right now. If you don't know who they are, I can give you a couple tips.
I just need to bug you afterwards.
Okay.
That's the deal.
Hey, do you have any sample references or sites where, or external websites, not just communities, where SnapIns are actually integrated? Because we've been trying to do that for quite some time, and we
have one.
fall into.
I just skipped that demo, so I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll be helpful.
Yeah.
My question is about the pre-chat form. What if when you are filling in form, it's good with it when you are not logged in, but what when you are logged in, how do you do with the form then?
So there is there is an API that you can use to collect the information about the logged in state. So there is something called as extra pre-chat details. That you can put in your, like the code snippet that you saw, right? When it popped up the code snippet, you can add those information, and then you can use the merge fields to get the logged in state, logged in username, logged in account, who is that, and all those information.
That means that the form is also skipped, or you can just pre-fill then this info on this form?
Yeah, you can skip the form and you can send the information, but at least like you still need to know why they are contacting, so that's like the minimum field that I would recommend to have.
Yeah.
And you can have like all the names and all automatically send it without them filling it.
Thank you.
Welcome. 1 minute.
Any more questions?
Great. Enjoy the rest of the conference, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.